Martinez is here as well as the Deputy Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, okay? And I'm here today just to let you know who we have in the room on my city side. I have my Deputy City Manager here, Kenny Miller, is here today. I have Joanne Williams of Communications and Legislative Affairs here today. I have my Fire Chief, Wayne Hoover, is here today. My Police Chief, Travis Christian, is somewhere in the room. All right. And I know we have several representatives from other agencies. I'm gonna start off with Mike Edwards. I'm not gonna say he's been promoted so many times. Give me your position there, Mike. What is it?
Safety coordinator for the transit system.
Safety coordinator for transit for all your bus service needs. All right. Anybody else? Any of our other city agencies in here? Treasurer. Where's Treasurer? Where's Paul? Paul is back there in the back. Treasurer Paul Mullen, thank you for joining us. And at this time, I'm going to I have my chair of the Housing Authority here. Mary Howard is here today. Thank you, Mayor, for coming, for all you do for us, along with several of my Planning Commission members, Fitton Bland here, along with Herb Colton. We have, I think on the city side, that's what I have. And I have Adrian Dance here with me today, so on this time, come on now. I'm gonna have Mr. Dance fill in for Pritchard because they own the school board together, so I'm gonna let him introduce the superintendent to speak with us today.
All right.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd like to introduce one more school board member, Ms. Tucker, Dakar Tucker. And any more school board members here? Well, it's my indeed pleasure to introduce our superintendent, Ms. Yolanda Brown. She came to Petersburg a little bit over a year ago, and she really hit the ground running. And she brought a wonderful staff with her, and they hit the ground running. So we are on the right track, doing a lot of positive things. Number one priority is teaching and learning. So we concentrate on teaching and learning, and we're making improvements in teaching and learning. We also been concentrating on improving our facilities throughout the division, and we've done a lot to improve our facilities because we want all our employees to love to come to work, and we want good quality buildings and things for our students to participate in. So we've got a whole lot going on in a whole lot of different areas, and the best is yet to come. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Ms. Yolanda Brown.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Davis. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Again, I'm Yolanda Brown, the very proud superintendent of Petersburg City Public Schools, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all tonight in Ward 3. Tonight, I have prepared a PowerPoint because I think a picture is worth 1,000 words when you're talking about all the work that we've done in Petersburg. Of course, we have lots of work to continue to do, but you got to start somewhere. And so I want to just bring you up to date tonight of some things that we've done in Petersburg and some work that's ahead for the work that we're going to do for our kids and our community. So tonight I see our board chair Pritchard just walked in. He's coming in. And again, I want to recognize our board members and Mayor Parham, who is the representative, and our mayor for Ward 3 for the entire city of Petersburg. So with that, I'll jump right in. Gotcha, all right. Can everyone see this? I'm gonna move this over a little bit. I don't do really well with podiums. I like to be able to engage with the audience. And so, of course, Mayor Parham has already introduced our school board members, and you saw that Mr. Kenneth Pritchard, who is Ward 3 representative and board chair, is here with us this evening. Also, Ms. Tucker and Mr. Dance. So these are our board members for Petersburg City Public Schools. Really quickly, I just want to have my team stand up and raise your hand. We finally are a full team. here together in Petersburg. And I'll start with Mr. Paul Brown is not here this evening, but he is our Chief Academic Officer who's over all things academics in Petersburg. Next, Dr. Yasmin Gay, who's our Chief of Staff. Dr. Matthias Braywood, who's our Chief Financial Officer. And we have our Chief Communications Officer, Ms. Chelsea Vanier, back there with the camera. And then we have our very own Petersburg, Dr. Toria Manson, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services. And then we have Ms. Dr. Shamika Long-Lane, who is our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. And last but not least, Dr. Giovanna Martinez, who is our Assistant Superintendent of Operations. So we're very excited to work with this team on behalf of our students and families here in Petersburg. So just really quickly, if you have heard, our school board officially adopted our 5-year strategic plan, which is the roadmap to where Petersburg is going to go until 2031. And so as a part of our new mission for Petersburg, I want to make sure that everybody knows, it's fresh off the presses. Our new mission, which is the purpose of Petersburg City Public Schools, is that we will develop and empower students through innovation and collaboration so that they demonstrate virtue, good character, and make meaningful contributions to society. That is what the community wanted and what our purpose is, and that is what the board voted on. So that is our new mission, and that is what we're aiming to do every single day in Petersburg City Public Schools. Really quickly, our vision. Where are we trying to go? What are we trying to be? In Petersburg City Public Schools, we will transform and expand opportunities for learning so that every student graduates with a life filled with choices. And it's one of the 4 E's of the choices that they should have when they graduate from Petersburg High School. They should have the choice to be enrolled in college or some post-secondary institution of their choice. They should have the choice to be employed in any job or career of their choice. They should have the choice to be enlisted in the armed services, or they should have the opportunity and the choice to become an entrepreneur. That is why we do this work, and that's where we're trying to go in Petersburg. This is our vision. Next, just a high-level overview of Petersburg City Public Schools. As of this summer, Petersburg City Public Schools, pre-K to 12, had 4,527 students enrolled. We also have 9 schools, and that includes programs like Pittman Academy and Westview. We also have an 82% graduation rate. And so we're working to continue to improve our graduation rate, but we're at 82%. This past year, we gave out 141 certifications to our high school students that participate in certification programs like cosmetology, and I think you saw that on our website, auto mechanics. All of those different CTE programs and certifications, we gave out 141 this past summer. And of course, you may have seen, Petersburg has 3 accredited schools. And so I want to say that is a part of the new system that the Virginia Department of Education has put in place. Accreditation is a little bit different than it's been in the past. And so what the state looks at now is all the compliance areas as well. What type of programs do you have in place? Are you putting plans in place to address the needs of students? It includes all of those things and not just academics. And so we have 3 accredited schools, and Walnut Hill is actually one of them in Ward 3. So this evening, I kind of couched this presentation around our work, because it's an hour, right? And so we're going to talk about our academic and student services work, so you can understand what we've been doing over the past year. We're going to talk about our human resources and talent work here in Petersburg. We're going to talk a little bit about budget and finance work we've been doing, and we're going to talk about our operations work. And you heard Board Member Dan talk about our core business being teaching and learning, and it starts with academics. And you also heard him talk about some of our operations work already, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into that. And an important aspect is our work that we're doing family and community engagement, because no one does this work alone. We cannot do it by ourselves, and community engagement and family engagement is key. So that's what we're going to talk about this evening. So let's start with our core business. We exist for teaching and learning. Everything else is to support teaching and learning. And if we're not focused on that, then we're not doing the right work for kids. And so first, I just want to talk about the fact that, just let you all know that we rolled out a new instructional framework so that every teacher in every classroom in Petersburg, from kindergarten to 12th grade, understands what good teaching should look like. It outlines what kids should be doing and what teachers should be doing, and you have to have a framework for that. And so we put that in place And we're continuing to provide professional development because we want every teacher in every classroom to know what good teaching looks like. This year, we implemented some new high-quality curricular resources. And so that meant that we went out and we adopted curricular resources for middle and elementary school. We started with middle and high school. We started with elementary school. But kids have to have access to quality resources that are aligned to the SOL assessments. If you do not expose them to that, then you can't expect them to do any better. And our kids deserve, regardless of what level they're on, they should be exposed to grade level content. Regardless of where they're reading, we still have the opportunity to help them grow in their reading, but we should be exposing them to high level reading pieces based on what the grade level in the state of Virginia says you're supposed to be learning every day. And so we're excited about that. This year for academics and student support, our mental health support for kids and for staff, we implemented character strong curriculum. We're trying to teach kids those competencies like self-management, emotional management, helping them to be able to learn how to self-regulate themselves. That is important, not just for kids, but that's also for adults. And so we rolled out a character strong curriculum that was adopted by the board last year, and each day we're working with teachers so that they can implement that with kids. We're about to start with adults too, 7 mindsets. Because whoever's in front of kids, whoever's supporting kids, have to have a great mindset too. And so you cannot just focus on kids, you gotta also help adults to have those 7 mindsets. So we're excited about starting that work this year. And if you've heard around, the Petersburg City Public School Board has set a goal for my work around chronic absenteeism. Last year, Petersburg had some of the highest chronic absenteeism over the last couple of years, and we are focused on reducing chronic absenteeism across our school division by 3%. That is the goal that we set. And so you'll hear a lot of the work that we're doing around that, but we're doing that by implementing data, looking at what the numbers are telling us every single day. If you go onto our website, we have a data tracker that tells you every single school, every day, what their attendance rate is, so that it's being very transparent. And then we're looking at monitoring, supporting, and holding folks accountable as you support them, because if you don't have support without accountability, it doesn't matter. And then at the end, we're going to recognize them. And so in December, we're really excited that with our focus, Walnut Hill won the cup for the greatest reduction in chronic absenteeism for the month of December. So let's give it up for Walnut Hill. And I see the principal over there with the card. Congratulations. And so each month, schools know that we're going to celebrate it, but we are monitoring and supporting chronic absenteeism. So our next piece is around human resources, because that is very important in our talent work. So what we've done so far over this year is we've started to revamp our human resources structures. The school board had already approved a year ago a new HR system called Frontline. It's more digitized, it is very much 21st century, and it allows us to be able to have everything housed in one place. Frontline can be considered one of the gold standards in HR. And so this allows us to be able to have our candidates be able to go into a system where everything is right at their fingertips. We can communicate with them and we can track all of our data around HR in this new Frontline system. It allows us to move away from so much paper and really be able to track our candidates and be able to, again, like I said, communicate with them. We've also trying to move to more digitization and not so much paper. Paper is good. I'm old school. I like pencil and paper. But today, you have got to have an electronic record, and you've got to be able to keep up with it. So that's some of the work that we're doing at HR. And we've implemented a new employee customer service system. We always hear employees calling and call everybody, hey, I can't get anybody. Hey, I sent an email. Hey, all these different things. And so we implemented a new system called Ask HR. And so if you email our HR department, you're emailing everybody, not just one person, so that everybody's accountable on the team for getting back to people in a timely manner. And we have data and documentation that you've done so. If you call the HR system, now you can choose by dial back if you want benefits, if you want Frontline, because that's the way of the world. You need to be able to get to someone really quickly. And so our new Ask HR system, we just launched it a couple of months ago, but it is helping us to be more responsive to our employees so that they can focus on our core business, which is teaching and learning. And then we also have focused on recruiting fully licensed teachers. This is really important because who we have in front of kids is important. And so we want to make sure that, I know last year in our budget, the school board and the city council approved bonuses to help us support and recruit licensed teachers. Last year, we had 18 licensed teachers that we were able to recruit through that work, and so we're expecting to see more, but that is a start. We want to make sure who's in front of kids, that they understand the teaching profession, and we're going to support them throughout the process. We have lots of teachers who are provisionally licensed and who are trying to get licensed, and our job is to help them get to that point so they can become fully licensed for students. And then we've also, again, gotten funds from our budget. We've gotten funds from the Cameron Foundation. We utilize federal dollars so that we can help our teachers through the process. Because everyone's not going to walk into education now, having been like me, been through an education program. You might come from any other sector of work, and you might want to teach. And so we're trying to help you by providing funding. Like in Petersburg City Public Schools, which I was really surprised, I said this to board chair so many times, we pay for almost everything. We pay for the test. We pay for the training. We pay for everything. We reimburse tuition if you want to go back to school and get your license. So we pay for a lot of those things. And so for me as superintendent, I'm holding people accountable to do exactly what they said they're going to do. If you're going to go get licensed, I need you to go get licensed because we removed all excuses for you to be able to do that. So that's our human resources and talent work. Now let's talk about budget and finance. And so at the end of 2024, around December, beginning of 2025, we had Alvarez and Marcel, which is kind of an international accounting firm that came in and did an assessment or some sort of audit on our processes in finance. And so we have a lot of work to do to work through those recommendations. But we have begun implementing new changes in our finance department. And so we've hired some permanent key finance people in accounting roles so that we have people to help us do the work. We're still trying to fill that. And we tried to redo our entire way of doing budget. We are trying to be more strategic so that everyone in the school division understands the budgeting process and what their role is. Because if you spend money, you're a budget manager. And we need to make sure that those processes are tighter and that we are aligning our budget to what we say what we're focused on, which is teaching and learning. And so this process launched this year. We're pretty much almost through this first year process. It's been a learning experience, but we are trying to be much more focused on cleaning up our budget and finance work. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens a step at a time. But I want to assure you that we are on the right path at this moment. So now our operations work. And so if you all maybe remember, I'm going to give you high level and then we're going to talk about Ward 3. In February and March of 2025, we identified key capital infrastructure needs. Petersburg City Public Schools had already had a 4 to 5 year CIP, right? Which focused on our construction improvement projects that had already been identified for over the course of the 5 years. And so what we did was we pulled from that plan and we started aligning some funds and we started doing some capital infrastructure projects. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the projects that we did over the summer. Of course, we ran out of time because you can only do so much between March and June 30th. So we did as much as we could, but there are other projects that are still left to be done and we're working on that. But I just want you to know that we have a capital infrastructure plan that we're going to go to every time we get funding to be able to start fixing up and addressing some deferred maintenance and other things in our schools. And so I just want to highlight that we power washed and painted all of our schools. Of course, Walnut Hill, we're going to get a new school. So of course, we focused on those other schools to make sure that they could have a fresh power washing and coat of paint so that when kids walk up to it, they feel good about walking into their school, because you have to do a little bit at a time. What we did was we resurfaced parking lots at Westview and at Vernon Johns. So those cracks in the sidewalk, we fixed them. So that when parents drive through, it's easier to get in and out and you didn't have those issues in the parking lots. We installed new security upgrades, and you'll see those again in vestibules in our schools that didn't have them. So now when parents walk in or visitors, you don't go right into the school. You walk into a security vestibule and you go right to the main office, and that is about safety, and that's what we highlighted and did this year. And then, again, as I said, although we had this project starting, we couldn't get to all of them. And so we still have them on the docket, and they're still waiting for us to do them. So I wanted to show you these pictures of Westview's parking lot, what it looked like before, just one sample. Here's what it looks like now. That's progress. That's what that is. And that's what we're trying to do, is get a little bit better every day. And we did the same thing at Vernon Johns. Here's the exterior painting. Here's Lakemont Elementary School. This is what it looked like. Here's what Lakemont looks like now. Just a couple of pictures to show you, because we have tons of them, but I tried to just narrow them down. And here's our safety vestibules. If you remember, at Lakemont, you walk right in and you walk right into the school. A child could be standing there, anyone. You walked right in. We put up a security vestibule. Pleasance Lane, same thing. Now when you walk into this small space and you have to check in and you cannot get to the school. So these are some of the safety vestibules that we put in the schools that didn't have them. And then our wonderful lunch program. So what we did was, for the first time in Virginia, and I love bragging about this, is that we have the first hybrid school nutrition model. I want to thank the school board for entrusting me to do something a little bit different. Because if you don't do something different, you're going to get the same thing you've always got. And so I appreciate them supporting trying something new, and the support of the funding that we got, that we brought in a food service management, but we paired them with our own employees. We kept our employees and we worked with the food service management, who brought in 3 chefs for elementary, middle, and high school, including Westview. And those chefs are there every day. And they work with our staff to deliver meals that kids want to eat. Because I heard from kids they didn't like the food. We should not have anything posted where kids feel like and parents feel like when they send kids to school. When they send kids to school, okay. When you send kids, other way, right there. Look at our kids, that's high school. I took that picture with my own phone. When I went to the high school, the line was out the door. I asked kids when I first came, and we all saw the photos, I sat down with them and said, tell me about the food. Tell me what would change it. And I asked them, do you trust me to change it? I said, watch what happens. They tell me when I go there how much better it is. And they have different options every single day by our wonderful staff in Petersburg, along with the chefs. And so the lines are standing room only. And that's a great problem to have when it comes to lunch. Because it matters for kids when they come to school. Because that may be the only meal they get. And it needs to be the best meal they have. Because again, it's in service to teaching and learning. And that is our focus. And so I wanted to show that. So I just wanted to show a picture that I took of what their options are. So it's not, when you see it on the web, people are like, no, that's not real. It is real. And these are other examples. Still school lunch, still within the program, but this is what choices they have. And so we're really proud of that. When I see some kids, they tell me, I ain't gonna tell you, I can't tell you, Ms. Brown, their food is good. And they tell me that, I love it. I'm like, okay, great. I need you in school every day. That's what my response is. And last but not least, family and community engagement. This is engagement tonight, but this is very, very important to our work, because we can't do this by ourselves, no matter how much hard we try. And so we have our very great Family Engagement University. We have courses and programs for parents that help them help their kids. And so this year, which is really exciting, and I see Ms. Dr. Brandy Lee, who's over the program over there, who does a wonderful job. Yay. Parents were like they were enrolled in college, am I correct? So this year, we did a program where parents were enrolled in college and they got to get a schedule and pick their own courses. And those are the courses that they take throughout the year that help them. Because who can tell them, who knows better what they need than them? And so that's the work that we're doing around family engagement, and it's really exciting. And I just appreciate that work, and we're going to continue doing that work. But that is something that is unique, and I'm so proud of our team for thinking of something that met parents where they are. Because we try to tell them a lot, they know better what they need. And so this year, really excited, thank you again for funding from the school board and city council around the positions. We added some parent liaisons to provide them on-the-ground support in schools. And so when it's all said and done, every school should have some type of parent liaison that helps, because that matters for them to see themselves and get support. And then we're continuing our dedicated community and school partnership collaborations. As you can see, we're everywhere. I love our Crimson Wave bus. I have never seen anything like it. Every event there, I was telling the board members when we had the parade, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that concept anywhere, right? That is a unique concept where it's everywhere parents are. It's everywhere kids and community. They can get books and resources, and it just goes everywhere. And so I think that's a great thing to highlight, and so thank you to our family engagement department. So now, let's talk about Walnut Hill in Ward 3. And so I know that everybody talks about how schools are performing, right? That's just the nature of how we're measured. I just want to say high level that the Virginia Department of Education has just changed the way they look at schools completely, right? They put a new system in place that we're all still getting familiar with, right? And so they separated. They have a performance framework and then they have an accreditation system. And so the two are separate. And they look at similar things, but not the same things. And so the performance framework measures all schools in the state of Virginia. I said to the board, the new bar in Virginia is 80. If you're not an 80, you're failing. That's how Virginia does it now. I mean, it's a lot of conversation around what shifts they will make, but 80 now is the bar. And so every school in Virginia is measured against the number 80. And that's very different, right? And so this year, with the new system, you see the different categories. You're distinguished if you get kind of a report card. If you get a 90 or above, you get distinguished. If you are 80 to 89, you're on track. If you are 65 to 79, it's off track. And if you're below 65, you need intensive support. And these categories mean that you get more support from the state. That's what that means. The state has to lean in to help support schools. And so this year what's different is that the state looks at 3 different categories. Mastery, how are kids learning the SOL data, SOL content? Growth, are we growing kids? And what you'll hear, I believe, if kids are sitting in our classrooms every day, there's no reason a teacher shouldn't be growing a child. You should grow from the time you stepped in the door in August to the time you leave. There should be some impact on what you did for a child, or they came to school for no reason. Because we should be impacting them and growing them, and so we're really focused on growing kids so that they can get closer to mastery. But you got to start somewhere, and that's where we're starting. And readiness, and this is for elementary school, that's chronic absenteeism. You will lose that 10% if kids don't come to school automatically. And so that's kind of the high-level new system. Is they look at mastery, you get points for mastery, you get points for growth, and you get points for readiness. And you can easily lose points. If you don't have the mastery points as you're trying to grow kids, because that doesn't happen overnight, you should be growing kids, and kids should be coming to school. And if they don't come to school, you're going to get penalized on this new report. And that's what you see. So, Walnut Hill. So Walnut Hill's report for this year, there's 4 out of 100. Because you're trying to get out of 100, was 73.9. It says needs intensive support. It really is not needs intensive support, but the way the state does it is that if you are a federally identified school, so Walnut Hill has been identified by the federal government that there is a subgroup population at the school that needs intensive support. And so I'm sure the principals already talked about it, whether it's your economically disadvantaged students, whether it's your special education. I know for Walnut Hill, it's special education, am I correct? So your special education students' performance is what's causing Walnut Hill to be federally identified. So we have got to continue to work with our students with disabilities so we can support them and they can grow so that Walnut Hill is not federally identified every year. And so Ms. Urquhart and her team, along with Dr. Manson, our Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, who came from the special education side, they're working diligently, and that is our focus. Special education at Walnut Hill is a big indicator in this number. And so if you are federally identified, you get dropped to the next lowest category. That's what it is. So they really are not needs intensive support. They are off track, but you see a few more points they'll get closer, right? Because you can get to 80 a little bit closer here, you know, other than if you're further away, but you gotta, because we have to focus on our special education students, and that's why the number is different and it doesn't align to the category. They drop you one category if you're federally identified. So with our accreditation,
Point to the laptop. Point to the laptop.
Thank you, sorry. So again, here's a snapshot. And so it shows you what percentage points Walnut Hill got, right? So 42.35, I think that's about, you're supposed to get, I think 50, 60 points. 60 points, they got 42 of them. And so every one of these numbers count. So if they're supposed to get 10 for readiness, they got 7.5. That means that we shouldn't be leaving points on the table. Where are we losing points and where do we need to focus? And that's what this tells us, the new system in Virginia, which is different for everybody. And so this is the overall score, and I'll explain their needs intensive support. Now, accreditation is looked at a little bit differently. It's now about compliance with the Virginia Code. Again, do you have the programs in place that you're supposed to have? Do you have a plan in place that you are monitoring and making sure that things are in place? And there is a portion that talks about some academic performance. Because there are some schools across the Commonwealth who will get fully accredited and be a federally identified school. Because it's looking at different things, but it's taking into account some of this information, but it's not solely about academics anymore. So I just want to say that. But it still does not minimize the fact that the school is fully accredited, because that's still hard to do. But even with all the challenges, it's still hard to do, and I do think that Walnut Hill deserves a round of applause for being fully accredited. Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Urquhart and team. All right, so now we've talked about 30,000 feet, Petersburg City Public Schools. Now let's talk about Walnut Hill and the new building that we're trying to build. And so we're going to turn to new construction. I know everybody's excited. I know I am, because we are on our way with this new construction. I have Dr. Martinez, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, join me. But I'm going to give a high level real quick of the work that we've done. And so here, I just want to bring everybody back 2023. I wasn't here, but you already had this in place. Petersburg already had a plan to build a new Walnut Hill. And so originally, it was supposed to be a K-8 model from what we got from the state. And it was supposed to have, different things inside of it, but the scope changed. And then it was supposed to be an estimated cost of $90 million. And again, we were getting funding from the VDOE, and the city was providing us funding as well. That's the original scope for 2023. Of course, since then, we have some changes in the new scope, okay? So when we came in, we had a talk with the school board, a talk with Mayor Parham and Vice Mayor Hill around Walnut Hill, along with March Altman. And so we talked about this new adjusted scope. The new scope of what we're trying to build at this moment is a K-5 focused model, elementary school, and we're trying to work with the city and work with the state so we can make sure that this is the right scope. And so we are finalizing that, but we're pretty close, and we'll be meeting soon. And so I just want to tell you some of the funding, where it's coming from. So if someone asks you, where's the money coming from to build the new Walnut Hill? It's coming from two places. We're getting $15 million from the Virginia Department of Education's grant that Petersburg already got in 2022. Is that correct, Board Chair? In 2022, Petersburg was already given money for the school. The city also is supporting by giving us $30 million through a literary loan. And so the city is funding a portion, and we got a portion from the state. And that is the funds that we have at this moment to build a new Walnut Hill. So we have the funding, as far as we're concerned, in place. We are now just moving through the process of selecting the company so we can go ahead and start and get ready for our new school. So I just want to say to everyone, just so everyone is clear, we are building Walnut Hill as approved by the school board through the PPEA process, right? This process is a little bit different, but it is so nice that Virginia has this in place because it allows school divisions, which I think is really nice, to work through a public-private education facilities and infrastructure. It's really nice. It allows you, typically when you build a school, and so in my previous life, I oversaw schools that were built, and you had to do three different phases. You had to do a design, you had to do, somebody had to bid on it, then you had to build it. And it's a long, drawn-out process, right? This process in Virginia, the PPEA process, allows you to shrink that timeline and that you're able to do design and bid together, right? Design, build together. Design, build together. Instead of having 3 steps, it's already in 2. And that's really, really nice. I understand that this started in Loudoun County, I think, in Fairfax. They started using this model, and Virginia has it, and so we're using this PPEA process. And so the school board, in June, approved a policy. I know the city already had a PPEA process policy, but the school board approved a policy for us to be able to use this to build a new Walnut Hill, and it's just a procurement process. This is the way you get to be able to pay for and procure services to build the school. That's all it is. We're using this model, okay? And so back in what month? Let's see. In August, right? In August, everybody in the Commonwealth knows that we are building a new school in Petersburg. And so what happened was, once they found out we wanted to build a new Walnut Hill, people started sending us proposals. We didn't ask anybody for a proposal, they send it to you, right? And so once they send us the first one, I go to the board and say, hey, we got a company who said they can build a school for us. Can we accept it and can we look at it? And the board approved on August the 6th, take it, look at it, and start the process. That then started the process. We had one proposal to build Walnut Hill. Then after we accepted that company, other companies then got the opportunity to send us their proposals for 45 days. So we got 3 proposals to build Walnut Hill. And so we have looked at all these proposals, and we're about to pick a company. And so in March, if all things goes well, we will have a company, and we're going to start with the design process. And we're going to be talking to all of you all what you want to see in it, right? What do you want it to look like? And to me, that is something to be celebrated, because that is strides ahead of you all envisioning back in 2022, and it's 2026, and we're about to get this rolling. And so I just want to thank everybody for their support, the school board, the city council. You know, as I tell my team, it's about to be real now. It's about to be real that we're going to have a new school. So that is the process. So we have 3 companies. We're finalizing. We'll bring to the board. There's a lot of process we have to work through with the city. But that is the intent, is to come in March with a company to say, here's who's going to build our new school. And we're going to get started. So that is, do I leave anything out, Mr. Martinez? Okay, gotcha. Here's the construction timeline, right? So we've been reviewing those proposals starting in October, November, December. We shortlisted and we interviewed companies, right? We had a committee. I know Ward 3 had a representative on the committee that Board Chair Pritchett recommended, along with other support people. And then we've interviewed. Now we're going to have a public hearing on February 25th, where we're going to present the information. The entire public can hear. Here's what's going on with Walnut Hill. Here's the public hearing. After that, we will come to the board with a recommendation for us to get a company and let's get moving. And that is the timeline. For me, I know Mr. Martinez doesn't want to say, but I know for me, 2028 is my unlock the door and let's go inside the school. That is 2028 to open Walnut Hill is my desire as superintendent, and Mr. Martinez knows Like, let's get our school open. And so that's exciting. So that is the timeline. And then, sorry. Okay. So last but not least, I hope you all saw some of the media coverage. The media is calling every single day. Petersburg has a new 5-year strategic plan. I am absolutely excited. Everybody knows the success of a school division or any organization is you must have a plan. You can't think about it, what I like, what I want, it's not that. What is our plan for moving forward and how are we going to improve our schools? From teaching and learning all the way to operations. From teaching and learning to talent recruitment. From teaching and learning to finance. What are we going to do so that when we look out to 2031 and we all sit back, how much better did Petersburg City Public Schools get? That is the question we should be asking. And so our 5-year strategic plan just got approved in the last board meeting. I was so excited that we could talk about it. And so that's exciting, right? And so I want everybody to know that Petersburg had a strategic plan before. I think it was 2017 to 2022. Is that correct? And then we had a little bit of transition. But guess what? We got a brand new plan that the community put their voice in. You told us what you didn't like. You told us what you wanted to see different. The board gave feedback. Everybody gave feedback. And this is our plan. Not Yolanda's plan, not Jay's plan, not Ken's plan. Is that okay? I'll tell you what. This is our plan, right? But this is our plan for the next 5 years. And this is where we're going. And so our strategic plan, if you remember, the vision and mission is a part of the strategic plan. But we also have, when I start doing community meetings around our core beliefs, you're going to hear what the community said we believe we are. Thank you. And so I just want to highlight in our strategic plan, these are our 5 priority areas. This is what we're going to prioritize. When we ask for money, this is what we're prioritizing. When we ask people to do things, this is what we're prioritizing. If it doesn't align to this moving forward in Petersburg, we're not doing it. We're not doing it because you can only go so far if you veer off. Somebody wants you to do that. Somebody wants you to do that program. Somebody wants you to do this. We can't get to 2031. So the answer will be no, nicely, right? But I will be bringing everybody back to this. And so our priorities are, number 1, student achievement, wellness, and support. That's how we do this work. Improving student achievement, improving student wellness, and providing the right support for them. That's priority number 1. Priority number 2 is acquiring talent. And that's just not teachers. That's the plumber. That's the electrician. That's the bus driver. That's the custodian. Everybody who touches kids, we should be acquiring the best and keeping the best and developing them. Because nobody wants to come to work and do the same thing and not have any space to grow, right? Nobody wants to do that. People have left jobs in here, I'm sure, because you didn't feel like you could grow or no one was teaching you anything. And so we want to develop them and we want to retain them so that our kids don't have this revolving door of people just coming and going in and out the school division. We give them a reason to stay. Priority 3 is operational excellence and infrastructure. And you don't get here overnight, but you get here a step at a time. And we talked about some of the things that we're doing, and so we are focused on our operations being excellent. By the time 2031 comes, you should look back and be like, oh, we don't do that anymore. Oh, this is new. This is what we're doing. And every year you should see it happening through our strategic plan. Fiscal stewardship and management. This is about making sure, and I know our community members were really big on this word stewardship. And all of us that, all of us, because I am definitely, that is me. I am a grandmama's baby, church, religion, all of that is me. Stewardship is important. It's important. And so it ain't just stewardship of what we do in our personal life, but what do we do with our money? And be transparent about it. And that's just what it is. And it matters. And so this is our focus. What you focus on gets done. So priority number 5, family engagement and community partnerships. It's a struggle, but you gotta keep doing it. People are busy, they're surviving, they're working, but that don't mean we don't prioritize it. And so these are the 5 priority areas that we're gonna focus on in Petersburg into 2031. And so that is our strategic plan. It's exciting. You're going to hear more about it. You're going to see videos. You're going to have lots of information, but everybody seems to be excited about it. And I just want to say thank you, and remember, this is why we do this work. So thank you all very much. I'll call you up.
Huge referral source for us and anyone that's on Medicaid, and they have multiple drop-in sites throughout the community. So if you go, I don't have their website, it's already memorized, but if you go out, there's multiple locations where you can go without an appointment to be able to get screened for substance abuse services. Additionally, whether on Medicaid or not, I think they can also help with a sliding scale fee for that. Additionally, if individuals that are struggling with opioid addiction, there's multiple options now. There's a new clinic, Foundations Health, that opened up in the last, I think, 5-6 months in Petersburg that can help with Medicaid, manage medical treatment, whether it's methadone or other evolving treatments that help individuals deal with the chronic issue of opioid, fentanyl, and other severe drug dependencies. And if you ever need help, you can contact our office too, certainly. And thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.
Decided to start in the elementary school and then work his way up because they actually want to get a feel on how the students gravitated to the program. And currently we have 90 students enrolled into the program right now right here at Walnut Hill Elementary School. And then once we get finished with Walnut Hill Elementary School, Sheriff Crawford and Sergeant Hammond, they're going to sit down with the superintendent and they're going to discuss the plan to expand the program to the schools.
And I have Dr. Manson, our assistant superintendent.
Called second chances. So if the high school sees some students, or you know some students who are struggling with any type of substance abuse, we have a program called Second Chances that's with the greater reach, formerly known as B19. Then we brought them back in, we've implemented that, and I'm working with Tori White, who is the director for Children's Services at Greater Reach. And so we're working with them, and so we now have second chances on our secondary level to work with those students. So if you do know of any students, you report it to the high school, or if you know some families who have some students with that, you let the high school know, and they can go into and be recommended for the Second Chance program.
Means that if you're making a house payment or you're making a rental payment, you're going to see your payments go up anywhere from $100 to $300 a month. Could be more depending on the value of your home. Now, I also did look at the increase of housing prices for the last 2 years, and it's 31%. So it's correct, okay? And I think that you would like to have your house go up 50%, as would I. Everybody likes to see them go up, but you're going to pay a tremendous amount of tax. It's something the city's going to have to figure out. But we're not even getting services. I mean, my leads are still in the street, okay, over on Oak Ridge. You forgot the street completely. We have bullets coming into the backyard of my neighbor across the street who's serving in Afghanistan and Iraq. He knows what the sound of the zip sounds like when it goes by his head. Okay, he's 2 houses from the woods. There's no direct sight there. And the house on Overbrook has bullet holes in the back. What we're told, I haven't seen it personally. So there's an issue with shooting, as you know, in the city. Okay, our gutters, the gutters on our street are totally pitted out. They look terrible. Our streets are patchwork of asphalt. The water underneath there is leaking out. I got 2 water meter covers, but one's for my sewer, okay? But it says Petersburg City Water. And when they came by to put our electricity under the ground, they marked it as water, which is a different depth than sewer. I didn't go up there and personally lead them by the hand. They brought Petersburg Municipal out there, and they looked at it, and they said, oh, no, this is water. I said, no, it's sewer. They took the cap off. They said, well, it'll still work. Okay? And yeah, it does. It works. Okay? But it's the complacency. It's the lack of wanting to do better, okay, for the city. And I'm paying 33% more tax on this. And not only that, but the average, for the median, not the average, the median's property tax in the state of Virginia is 77.77. Our city is the 3rd highest in the state at 1.27. Okay? Well, I think one town was 1.4. I forget the name. It starts with an M. It's not the Royals, it's somebody else. casino where you just got a $15 million check. I hope you spend it well. But the problem is that all these people here, a lot of them are younger than me. How many times can they see a 33% or 31% increase in their housing, on their real estate tax every other year? Okay,
Right.
so it's going to be
Just
a big problem.
Just to address that, the assessments have gone up. Like you said, there's been a tremendous amount of industry investment going on. You've seen new homes being built throughout the city. And with that, the city council will be adjusting the real estate tax rate in March. So you're gonna see the real estate tax rate go down because of those assessments. We're not gonna let them balloon out of control. Like you said, for so many years, the city didn't have industry. And when you go back into the 80s and 90s, city council at the time had to jack up the real estate tax rate because we didn't have industry. We lost our retail. And we had to come up with a way to fund our schools, pay our teachers, pay our police, pay our fire department. So right now, the city was just on the verge of bankruptcy less than 10 years ago. So right now, we're on a rebound, trying to attract new industry. We've attracted new industry. We have new homes that's going up and fixing up a lot of those things. I'm going to get on to our part of this, but right now, I know the superintendent here will address the city, what the city issues. I have police that need to talk to you, along with the deputy city manager about those issues. But I want to be mindful of time for them up with any more questions for the school system before we move on. Yes. Yes, Mr. Tracy.
That we are now for our new BDOE in 73.9.
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated that part of that was because of our special ed.
Uh-huh. Yes.
The intensity.
Needs intensive support. Yes, ma'am.
Well, how are we gonna work in and make that happen? Because my grandson is a student who has an IEP. So how are we gonna work around that to make that work for him, so he doesn't feel like he's just being thrown off to the side because he's creating the 73.9 score that we have that's kind of skating below the issue? Because he's been dealing with this for a while now, and we've been trying to work wholeheartedly with Walnut Hill every single step of the way, because I have notes to go back to 2023. And had I known this was gonna happen, I would have brought my notes. I'd have been able to call people by name, because some of those people are right here in this room today. I'm still waiting for phone calls from people who are standing in this room right here today about things or issues that's going on with my grandson. What I am proud to say, though, is he has risen above some of the obstacles that he's had, because he knows I do a lot of journalism, and he's watching me journal. So he asked me one day, could I get him a journal? So I bought him a journal, and he does not know that I go in his journal and read it's in his journal. But I go in and I read it, and I am very elated to see his subject and verb agreement. I'm very elated to see his sentence structure. And I'm very elated to see that he's growing and getting these things done. But he still struggles really, really hard. And at one point back in 2020, after COVID, he had asked me, could I quit my job and stay at home and what's it called? Homeschool him, because he felt that when he came here to Walnut Hill, that his teacher didn't care for him and that she mistreated him and kind of handled him recklessly. In which, as he told me more, she did. And my concern is, because we have to rise above this to fit into the new BDOE scoring, I don't want my grandson to fall between the cracks anymore. I don't want him to feel like he can't be here anymore. I don't want any of that. I don't want anybody ignoring him. I don't want him being pushed to the side. I don't want him being belittled or not or not assisted. I need him to feel comfortable being here. He's just gotten to that comfort to where he feels comfortable, and now this comes up. And then earlier last week, while we were out during school, he got an email from his teacher that said that any child that earns a D may not be a part of the moving on ceremony. And what I want to say is my grandson had a D on his report card, but guess what? He's going to be a part of that moving on ceremony, because it's already bad enough that he does deal with anxiety issues. His anxiety is through the roof for an 11-year-old boy. He worries about everything, he worries about everybody, but I'm not going to let the people here who should be helping him push him back down and make him feel like he can't be a part of the moving on ceremony. My daughter read the email to him out loud. He's sitting in the back of the car looking like he's about to break down. He said, well, Mommy, I'll try, I'll do better. I'll make sure I don't get a D anymore. I'll make sure we are working with him. We're doing everything we can, but it's no way that you're going to make me believe that you're going to
have a student that has an IEP that may get a D, may not get a D, sit down and not participate in his moving on ceremony? Because I'm telling you now, and if anybody's recording it, you have it, he will participate because I'm going to bring him here to do so, and nobody's going to stop him, and nobody's going to stop me. And before I move on to Richmond to talk to them about this email and other things, I need somebody else to give me some answers. Because that's not fair to him when he's really struggling, and we're doing the best we can. And sometimes it's hard to reach him because like I say, his anxiety is out the roof. His anxiety has him in the position where he sees a counselor once a week in Chesterfield. But I'm not going to let grown people beat him down, and he's really trying. He's himself.
Grandmother, right? I appreciate your passion and your tenacity around your grandkids. And that's exactly what we want, is we want parents who are passionate and who can call it and tell us where we have opportunities for us to do better. I don't have all the answers right here because I'm not familiar with your grandson's case specifically, so I don't want to misspeak about it. What I can say to you is this number, this is not the cause of children. This is about where we fell with our 3 categories. But the reason that we could not be in the next category above is because of that identification. But that is not one individual student. Our job as a school division is to work through and making sure that students, especially students with disabilities, get what their IEP says so that they can make progress. And so I can't speak to the email. We can talk about that after this with the school specifically. And I'm going to have Dr. Manson, who came from the special education department, to talk about the work that we're going to do to make sure. Because no, your child should not be cast aside. No, your child is not blamed for this performance. We as adults have to put things in place to support kids, regardless of how they're identified. Whether they're regular education, whether they're students with disabilities, that is our responsibility. And those individual issues we can work off to the side, but I just want to assure you as a superintendent, it is never the expectation that those things happen. And so, you know what, everybody doesn't always, I don't want to speak on what the school did or didn't do, because we want to work through that. I just want you to know that we are here to support and we're happy to meet and talk through it with you, and I'm going to let Dr. Manson talk about it. But your grandson will not be cast aside, I can assure you.
I'm not trying to just say nothing great has happened, because he has improved drastically.
In progress, we want to embrace, and that's important for kids.
He's still not 100%, and he's still not in a place where he might not get a D or he might not get an F. But I don't want that to label him or box him in where he can't get out of that.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Grandmother, for bringing it to our attention. And I'll meet with you right after this meeting so we can discuss. Some of the things that we are going to do, as Ms. Brown said, we're not blaming students with disabilities. They are students with disability for a reason. They've been found under IDEA, Individual Disability Education Act, as a student with disability because they have some barriers that we have to improve on. So some of the things we've done, we've already contacted VCU, technical assistant. They're going to come in, especially at Walnut Hill, and they're going to provide training on co-teaching. We're going to enhance and improve our co-teaching model so that our gen ed students, our gen ed teachers, along with our special education teachers, can work in inclusive practices. We're going to build an inclusive practice so that we can make sure that we work with our students. I have a task to change with modeling it. We do have a lot of novice teachers at Walnut Hill in special education, and so we need to come in and model some of the things that we want them to do, which means they're going to come in and they're going to work with the teachers by modeling the instruction to the teacher on how that's supposed to be for those students with disabilities. We're looking at every IEP for us alignment to ensure that our IEP is aligned with specially designed instructions to ensure that the accommodations with your child and any other student with disability, they're receiving those accommodations in the appropriate manner according to the Individual Disability Education Act and their individualized educational program. And so we're coming in, we're doing a whole mindful system, but they're going to be coming in on a weekly basis into Walnut Hill. We just hired our new instructional coordinator who has been Walnut Hill because of the fact of my identification. She will be tasked with coming into Walnut Hill and working with the students at Walnut Hill, but she's going to also be tasked with working with all students with disabilities. And so we're going to provide this training for all of our teachers in regards to inclusive practices, high-level practices for our students, and also on special design instruction. We need to understand that we're not giving the kids an advantage, but equal to the playing field for them. And so we need to make sure we model this for them. We're going to be reviewing the lesson plans for those teachers and providing what special design instruction is for all students and how do we reach those students. So we do have a plan that we're going to put in place for not just Walnut Hill, but for all our students with disabilities. We do remember that. We do have to remind ourselves We did go through this pandemic. All students suffer, but especially those students with a disability. So we need to put a laser focus in on those students, and so that we can make sure that every student is reaching their full potential. And that's our belief. That's always been my belief. We're going to ensure that takes place.
That Pittman Academy was one of the 9 schools in our system. I know that the population enrollment fluctuates throughout the year. Can you give us an indication of about how many kids we have at Pittman Academy today?
Okay, so I'll have Ms. Morrison, who is our Pittman Academy supervisor. I think it fluctuates.
We have about 30 in the building now and about 30 on home-based instruction. Hello, yes, my name is Ms. Morrison. I'm a supervisor of alternative ed, and at Pittman Academy, we have about 30 students in the building and about 30 on home-based instruction, and I'm currently taking in new students each day. I think I did 6 meetings today. So it's a constant flow, because what our goal is to have them go back into the high school or the middle school. So that the goal is not for them to stay there, it's for us to help them and keep them moving so they can be in these CTE programs and all the programs that we have in the comprehensive schools.
So you have about 30 in the building now?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm here today with my partner, Sherry Horn, and we are the owners of a new professional basketball team that's supposed to come to Petersburg, called Petersburg Live Wires. And one of our initiatives, like we said, being a steward in the community, one of our stewardship, within our stewardship, we work with elementary schools. I personally ran one of the largest minority-owned literacy foundations for 7 years. We opened up 19 libraries across the state of Virginia in low-income communities to help uplift literacy and North Carolina. And alongside it, way over 152,000 additional books outside of those libraries. And that's one thing we can look with them coming to Petersburg next. Our season starts 2026, 2027 will start in November. One of our initiatives is actually we want to work with you all to come to the elementary schools. To start with that kindergarten to 3rd grade, because that's the pivotal years you'll have.
That's the foundation.
Exactly. You might not graduate from high school if you don't have to get about 3rd grade, statistically. So we would like to come in and provide free books for the parents. Y'all know it costs $15, $20, $25 just to go to Walmart to buy a book, right? But we want to offer the same thing we've been doing since 2016, to give those books to the students to help uplift this. Not just books that we just be shoving to them, they take a book that they get to take out. It's something we've been doing, like I said, since 2016, University Foundation. Everybody from Richmond, I hope y'all heard from before, we all but it's one thing we look for.
Great, thank you so very much. And so we will connect you after the meeting.
School full curriculum for all the grades in Petersburg. That's my first question. Yes, ma'am.
You went first, but I'll answer you for them.
Okay, my second question is there a updated plan for children whose first language is not English for them to grasp the information that's being taught to them?
So the first, I'll have Ms. Joy.
The curricular resources that we talked about that we adopted, so it should be amplified for elementary school for reading, and it should be KIDM for mathematics. Those are the 2 new particular pieces. And then we also have my perspectives for the high school, and then we have a status for Envision for middle school. So hold on a second. So here you go.
Thank you. Good evening. That's a great question. So yes, actually, all of the resources and curricula that Ms. Graham just named, you are able to go to our PCPS website to access, and I don't know if it's pulled up there, but you can go to the PCPS website to be able to access the curriculum for all of our schools. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Massey, who will be able to give us a little bit more information regarding those curricula.
So if you can see right here on the website, you all could go back and show.
Okay, so once you go to this website, you should be able to click on elementary education and be able to click, and you'll see the grade level resources, and it outlines all of the core curricular resources that we have adopted. This year we have
taken a really hard stance on ensuring what is held tightly, and those are our curricular resources. So Ms. Brown talked about Amplify being our ELA curriculum, but we also have curricula that helps to support intervention. So when students don't get something, we have curricula to support that for ELA, and that is called in-class intervention. So that is small group instruction for students, and it is targeted specifically where students are. We also have online resources for ELA that are available, and parents can access those resources at home through Clever, and that would be Boost. And Boost is also a differentiated online resource for ELA. For math, we also have KIDM, which we have adopted this year, and our teachers are going through that implementation. For math, we also have IXL, which is an online digital program that can be accessed by all of you through Clever to help our students with mathematics. For middle school, we have also adopted high-quality instructional materials. The first one is called Envision, and that is for ELA. And we also use Lexia to help support our students for intervention during that time, as well as we also have adopted another math curriculum called Envision, and that is for all of our grades 6-12, as well as the Sabbath is for 6-12. So we've adopted high-quality instructional materials K-12 for all of our students. And for intervention for mathematics K-12, we actually utilize IXL. So we do have resources that not only can our students access, but utilizing through here, you can find our curriculum, but you can also access those resources through Clever when you talk to your students.
And Ms. Massey can talk about it, but I can tell you that we do have an ESL program for our ELL learners. And so Mr. Yamas is the contact person. He is the coordinator for that. And so we do have a program. I think we have our welcome center over at Pleasant Lane, is that correct? A welcome center. So any student that is identified or family that needs support, we identify them early, and we do provide ELL services. In our schools, kids can get pulled out. I was in a school, I think, a couple of weeks ago before the snow, and students were, the teacher was coming to pull students out to support them. And so whatever identified language, if English is not the first language, we provide direct instruction through a service model, typically of pulling them out, working with them on the English, so that when they go into the classrooms, they can have support with learning and implementing what they're learning. So we do have an ELL program, and if you go to our website, you can also find in our curriculum instruction ELL. We can also put you in contact with Mr. Yamas, who can talk you through the services that we provide for our English language learners.
And access something called Lexia for ESL students, and so that will help them develop their language skills, as well as being able to access Boost or Lexia depending on their grade level for the English, for the reading part, and we also have the language development.
I'm a four-year officer and a privacy officer, and at the last minute I was served a subpoena for the job, so that's why I was late. I could not leave. But yes, we're working with Senator LaShisa Ayers. One of the things she's working on also, I spoke with her, she's trying to find right now a nonprofit to hopefully funnel money through also with as part of family engagement and as part of your area also for homelessness. Because we have families that do not have anywhere to live. So she's working on something to try to get money here in Petersburg because we need the money to put our families up. If we have to put them in a hotel, if we have to provide food, they are doing all of that. Now, one of the things that the board has tasked the superintendent is to make sure that we build our PTAs back. Dr. Lee, if you want to come up also. But we want to make sure we build our parent-teacher association back. Back in the day, Miss Tracy, Miss Bangs, no, PTA was strong. We had strong PTAs back in the day when our kids were now adults, when our kids were in school. So that's one of the things that we're focusing on. But I also wanted to say, Mr. Miles is in here. If any of you all are looking for a mentor for your students, Mr. Miles, please stay and share with them the program that you actually have. You all have that's in the school division.
Okay, we mentor a young black man, and we go all the way down to 10 years old, but we haven't accepted some of that young every month, the whole calendar year. So, and what we do, we meet with them, we mentor them, and we also take them on activity, whether it's bowling, a city state basketball game, a flying squirrels game, skating, skate land. So we have something, and we have a lock-in once a year where we bring all of them together. We had the WAMS game. Last year we had it at WAMS game. We had Eddie at one of the elementary schools in the gym, and we keep them all night. We get rid of them all night. And we love them. But the main thing, they feel that we teach them how to be young men. One of the problems that we have when they leave elementary school, they don't understand their status in life. Once they turn 11 years old, we have a system in the Commonwealth of Virginia called juvenile system, court system. You're no longer a child, you're a juvenile. We got to teach them when they reach that status that they can be held accountable and put into detention. So we got to teach them that responsibility. We got to teach them how to take care of themselves, how to make good decisions, how to protect themselves, how to be aware of the social ills that can bring them down when you make a bad decision. So that's why mentoring is very important, because a lot of our kids don't understand when they reach that juvenile status that they can be held accountable. They can even be incarcerated in a juvenile detention center. We got 32 of them in Virginia. So that means they're being used. So we got to get them ready. We got to prepare them mentally. We got to prepare them socially and emotionally. So that's why mentoring is very important. And you can contact me. My number is on the website. So if you have a young person that needs to be mentored, we have some of the concerned black men here. John, raise your hand. We have mentors here. So we're very interested in the child outside of the school also.
So thank you so much. With family and community engagement becoming one of our priorities as represented in our strategic plan, it speaks volumes to this administration's commitment to supporting our families and community partnerships. When you talk about how to connect with the parents who are in a certain age group, I think part of that is us not making the assumption that we know what parents need. And I think that is one of the beauties of Family Engagement University, where we get to hear directly from parents. You tell us what's important. You know, I think back to the initial design of that program, some of the majors that I thought, oh my goodness, parents are really going to be into this. Where I feel like I've seen the most parent participation from our young parents, such as yourself, is right there in that advocacy group. So I think that this age group of parents, they have some legitimate concerns. We are sharing those concerns, or you are sharing those concerns in our PAC meetings, and we are sharing those concerns with our board members and our chief of staff, and certainly making sure that those minutes are available for the remainder of the board and our superintendent to be able to see. And that is part of the reason why you were here tonight. I'm not sure if you knew that, but our PAC chair, Ms. Tinsley, made the decision to invite PAC here tonight. And so some of the questions that you have fielded this evening has come from that group of parents that get that call every month, and they are eager to share and to hear from you. So I do want to thank you all for being here and for your questions. The last thing I do want to share is with regards to PTA, because I remember when I was a teacher here and we had a robust, right? I remember a long time ago, we had a robust PTA program, right? And some of you all are familiar with that. So what I would just add is that Dr. Dan, I believe that was last week. And she said, Dr. Lee, if you could just get 2, but I am proud to say that we got 2 and I'm working on a 3, that one principal is super interested. I know Ms. Green got her paperwork turned in with the support of Ms. Tinsley. So it is coming. So I just think when we think about, I know because of our conversations, we have a lot of parents who are interested in PTA and interested in supporting schools and getting those young voices out and advocating for their children. We just have to create the space for them to do that. And so it is my goal that we be able to do that and more.
Homelessness, because it is a problem here, but it's a problem in most cities. But what we need is a partnership with an agency that specializes in it. And so in Richmond, there is, well, it used to be called Virginia Supportive Housing, and now it's called, I think, Housing Support Works. They changed their name and rebranded. They've been in business for almost 40 years. They are a nonprofit, but they specialize in chronic homelessness and couple it with supportive services. I've worked for them at a time. I work for the Clay House, and so that is definitely an area maybe the city can explore, or an avenue they can explore with a partnership. They did build the first regional housing development for persons that were formerly homeless in Norfolk some time ago, where they used the local housing authority, the Virginia Supportive Housing, and then they partnered with Norfolk City. And so that may be something the city may want to explore, because homelessness is a symptom. It's not a problem. It's a symptom. A lot of times it comes with an extraordinary amount of other problems, substance abuse, mental health issues, all of those things which the city, as a city, is designed to do, but it's not necessarily designed to support those things to the extent those individuals need. And so you all need additional support from a nonprofit, as you stated, that can help you all help them. Thank you.
$186,000 program here through this block grant program. I'm on the board there. But every year the city council shifts the money away from housing to parks. So we spent more than $1 million upgrading the parks, and we spent nothing on homelessness, even though the city for years and years has had that money available. We don't allocate it. That's never requested. On the CDBG board, we make recommendations. The city council makes the final decision, and they take the decision, the recommendation we make, and shift them to parks, which to me, as a resident of the city, I think that's should come out of the regular budget, not out of these special funds, federal grants. There's a route for you to take.
Can I ask you a question since you're on the board? I noticed the individuals, or the list of individuals that are on there applying, whatever. Can the school system also apply for this money? Let's say family engagement.
You have to go through, well, yeah, sure. The money's got to come to the city. You can go to the city council, where you can come to the board and make a request, and we can submit it to the city council. The board makes recommendations. We have no power.
It's an application process, right?
Yeah, you can start with meeting Wednesday.
Just trying to understand.
Some of the same challenges that Petersburg faces every day were dealt with in Richmond. And what the city manager, the council, school board, and what everybody did, they put themselves in the room and not just plan separately. We planned together. I don't know if you're familiar with the neighborhood in blue. That program derived from identifying communities in the city of Richmond that were dilapidated. Those homes now worth $400,000 because those individuals were doing things separately in separate places. You know how the United Way has a big umbrella and all of those different connections? That's what the city of Richmond decided to do. Everybody got in a room and decided what are our priorities. And what in each department we decided what our priority was. I served with the communities, with the civic association. I was the chairperson. And that's what we looked at. When we all came together, we didn't look at what was best for my district, even though my district was more challenged with population growth. We looked at where can we target and grow not only schools, because these children come from households that are often broken. What social programming are we using that is not beneficial to all in that community? And we did that planning by putting, and I shared this with the superintendent, because the school board did it. We put it on the wall. We were honest with ourselves. What's right, what we got going on, but we gotta fix what's not going on. And there lies the challenge, because nobody wants to face that we fell short of grace. But in order to change, and stop doing the same thing over and over again, I've been here 10 years, and I've listened to council, I listened to school board, and it just sounds like a replaying tape of what has happened before that I experienced in Richmond. So I challenge you, all of these people in the room, of these departments, and everybody seeking the dollar. Let's see how we can benefit from making the dollar go a longer way, but not for the agencies, but for those children and those families who rely on all of these officials in here with titles and responsibilities.
The questions, we have such excellent questions, such wonderful engagement. That's what this is all about, getting everybody to the table to talk and have these conversations. But we have also a great superintendent here and her staff. I've been here my whole life, and I've never seen a superintendent answer questions, get with you today, instead of saying, well, I'll get with you, let me get your number, I'll figure out that question another time. And we just want to, one of the big things is the city has been growing and the schools is growing as well. And we wanted to present our newly accredited schools with proclamations tonight because they work hard for our kids, teachers, sacrifice so much. And school chair Pritchard and I first would like to recognize Walnut Hill, and it says where the city of Petersburg and Petersburg City Public Schools are committed to ensuring academic excellence, accountability, and equitable educational opportunities for all students. And whereas the Virginia Department of Education has established rigorous standards of accreditation to measure student achievement, instructional quality, and school performance across the Commonwealth, and whereas Walnut Hill Elementary School has demonstrated sustained academic progress, strong leadership in ERCOT, effective instructional practices, and a commitment to student success, resulting in the achievement of full accreditation status. Whereas this significant accomplishment reflects the dedication and collaborative efforts of school administrators, teachers, instructional staff, students, families, and community partners who have worked tirelessly to meet and exceed state standards. And whereas attaining full accreditation represents not only academic success, but also resilience, growth, and a renewed confidence in the future of education within the city of Petersburg. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, Samuel Parham and Kim Pritchard, Chair of the Petersburg City School Board, do hereby jointly recognize and commend Walnut Hill Elementary School for earning full accreditation status from the Virginia Department of Education, and be it further proclaimed that the achievement stands as a testament to the collective commitment to excellence within Petersburg City Public Schools and serves as an inspiration for continued academic progress and community pride. Be it further proclaimed that the City Council of Petersburg and Petersburg City School Board extend their deepest appreciation and congratulations to the students, educators, staff, and families of Walnut Hill Elementary School for this outstanding accomplishment. Ms. Urquhart, come here.
To excellence within Petersburg City Public Schools and serves as an inspiration for continued academic progress and community pride. And be it further proclaimed that the City Council and the School Board extend their deepest appreciation and congratulations to the students, educators, staff, and families of Cool Spring Elementary for this outstanding accomplishment. Congratulations, Principal Shaw. And Principal Shaw did tell me, you know I'm not in your ward, so I don't know if I should be there or not.
This is for you. I don't know, I was at Petersburg High School back in the 90s, and Miss Fields was there. Over 30 years ago, Miss Fields, you know that, right? And she has been committed to Petersburg schools and doing great things for our kids. And I'm happy to present this proclamation to the states. Whereas the City of Petersburg and City Public Schools are committed to ensuring academic excellence, accountability, and equitable educational opportunities for all students. And whereas the Virginia Department of Education has established rigorous standards of accreditation to measure student achievement, instructional quality, and school performance across the Commonwealth. And whereas Petersburg High School has demonstrated sustained academic progress, strong leadership in its fields, effective instructional practices, and a commitment to student access, resulting in achievement of full accreditation status. And whereas this significant accomplishment reflects the dedication and collaborative efforts of school administrators, teachers, instructional staff, students, families, and community partners who have worked tirelessly to meet and exceed state standards. And whereas attaining full accreditation represents not only academic success, but also resilience, growth, and renewed confidence in the future of education within the city of Petersburg. and therefore be it proclaimed that I, Sam Parham, and School Board Chair Kendall Pritchett, do hereby jointly recognize and commend Petersburg High School for earning full accreditation status. We are proud to proclaim that this achievement stands as a testament. Come on down, Mr. Stop walking down there. With the Petersburg City Public Schools and serves as an inspiration for continued academic progress and community pride. We are proud to proclaim that the City Council of Petersburg and the Petersburg City School Board extend their deepest appreciation and congratulations to the students, educators, staff, and families of Petersburg High School for this outstanding accomplishment. This fair use funds have been accounted for. We got new fire engines coming on order for Petersburg Fire. We got a new fleet of police vehicles coming for Petersburg Police Department and Washington Division and the Sheriff's Department, and also we invested $6 million into a sports training facility. Our Petersburg High School never had a field house. Our kids been going to the bathroom in the woods for 30 years at Petersburg High School, and we finally got the field house up and moving, and they expect to be completed this year. So they're working on the inside now, pouring concrete, and working on the internal boundary wall going around the building. So it's exciting times. But at this time, I want to introduce Penny Parham, who is our General Manager and Vice President of Live Casino Hotel in Virginia. And the staff that's here, thank you so much, Penny, for coming out. Appreciate you. But Penny is here because we need jobs. And we took this thing off of the city of Petersburg citizens to finally get access to jobs. Everybody has talked about the days of when we had industry here. Now we have a new industry here, which is in the cordage companies, and the cordage companies have just a remarkable track record of what they're doing, which is commercial development here in the city of Petersburg. And Penny is here to talk about we need more people working at Live, okay? And we have a free dealer school. The city of Petersburg has contributed money to open up a workforce training recruitment center, which is on Crater Road down by Ollie's in conjunction with Richard Bland College. And right now, we're about 150 dealers short. So we wanted to talk to you all about anybody who's interested in getting a job, a career, not a job, but a career at Live, and be a part of the growth that's going on here. Because I don't want people to say that we didn't get job opportunities in Petersburg. We've been saying Petersburg first. So we need your help right now to fill that void. All right, Penny.
So for those of you that haven't met me, my name is Penny Parham. Hopefully some of you got what I call my lucky penny if you're ever visited in our casino right now. So one of the things that really gives me hope and that the future of Petersburg is so bright is one of the things she talked about is the 4 E's, the employed part as well as the meaningful contributors to society. So that really resonated on a lot of your PowerPoint earlier, because that's what Live is here for. That's one of our core values. I have Cheryl, my Vice President of Marketing over there, who also resides in Ward 3. And, part of our mission is to always make this place better than when we found it. So, but I need your help. We have, like what Mayor said, we're about 100 to 150 jobs short right now. The third cohort for dealer school at Crater Road just started today. So we are, 19 days into our opening. So we opened about 19 days ago. But we're still short of employees. And one of the things that I am so optimistic about is the chronic the absenteeism that I see. That's something that, hopefully we can reinforce among our youth, and especially for the future pipeline that we have. That's something that we've struggled in all of our properties, but something that hopefully, again, the school district with the pipeline K through 12 that we're addressing very early on, and making meaningful students or at least contributors to the pipeline from a talent perspective. So that's why this, I think, tonight was very important for me to speak about the pipeline that we have. Right now, I need about 500 plus jobs, so I'm still meaningfully short on that. But pretty soon, in 22 months, so in February, we only have 22 months to get ready for another 1,000 jobs out there in hospitality. One of the pivots that we have to do is that it's a 24/7 industry, so it's very tough sometimes, especially for the leadership or, a lot of the ones that, one of the things you'll hear them complain is we work when everybody's on vacation, or we work when when there's holidays out there. So that's very important that, for the ones that you tell that we need to have a 24/7 operation. And so to prepare the students is very important for us. So that way we can fill the 1,000, over the 1,000 job pipeline that we still need, aside from the 100 jobs that we need, immediately right now. So but again, I am just so elated by the fact that, you've talked a lot about the metrics that we need to prepare the children, or not the children, the soon-to-be adults. So right now, my facility, our temporary facility, is a 21 and older facility right now. So for you to work in our facility, you have to be 21 and older. But when we build the permanent casino out there, we are able to hire 18-year-olds as well. So 18 to 18 and older. So for a lot of our hotel. So for those of you that don't know, we have a 200 hotel plus coming up, again, in 22 months. We have about a 3,200 arena coming in Petersburg. We have a bunch of different smaller hotels that we're partnering with to make sure that they're in some of the pads that we have currently. From a long-term standpoint as well, but I think that's going to come sooner rather than later. The other portion that we need is to just get bigger casinos. So right now, we can't go out there and advertise, right? But a lot of my gaming positions are tip positions. And just to give you guys, something to shoot for, in Pittsburgh, our slot attendants make about $66 an hour, for our sister property. We're not there quite yet. We're probably in the $25 to $26 range right now per hour in our slot positions, and on our dealers, we're about $23 to $24 per hour. So those are some of the ranges that I see, and of course, that tip position is dependent on how friendly they are. So the friendlier they are, the better that tip pool rises with it. So if you're not so friendly, it goes down, but if you're super friendly, it goes up. So, being able to have hospitality, really attitude, and make sure that they show up on time for their team members, as well as, the different things, that's what we need. So I implore you to please, the good news is about half of my staff right now is Petersburg residents. So very, very happy with that result, and as well as our applicant pool. But, sooner rather than later, we also have to expand in that to make sure that, again, if we need a lot more from the gaming position especially. So right now, with us doubling our table games, we're probably going to double our slot capacity. We're going to offer tables. We're also going to offer sports betting. And also on the food and beverage side, for those of you that have contacts on the culinary world, we're going to about 10 plus food and beverage outlets for the permanent. So really a lot of people that I'll need to make sure, they have the right attitude, so that way our customers keep coming back. So there are a lot of good indications. I can tell you, we are, that Friedrichsburg market that we're seeing instead of going up to MGM because of the traffic, they're coming to us. So they're not driving through Petersburg, they're driving to Petersburg. So that's one of the really, really good indications. They rather come south as opposed to go fight that traffic up north. So that's really good. The other thing is, instead of going through rivers or the Boyd Pamunkey area in Norfolk, as Cheryl would correct me, now comes through Petersburg. So, being able to really resonate with that. But I really just need positive, super friendly people, so that way they keep coming back. One bad experience sometimes, detracts from that, right? So if we are able to train, again, the future of Pipeline to have really that hospitality attitude, I think we're in a better place. The other thing that we also need, and I saw Chief Christian here, Chief Travis Christian is making sure, that's from a safety perspective, that's also top of mind with us. We have a lot of technology that we've put in. Can't disclose them all, but at least put in the facility to make sure that everybody feels safe. So far it's been good. 19 days. We've, have at least in some days exceeded expectation. I wasn't expecting 3 weekends of snow, right? So Virginia was something that when they pitched to me, like, you need to move there, it doesn't snow, it doesn't, really, it's very much like a temperate, state, and then I'm like, oh my God, 3 weekends in a row, we had snow. And so, the people, the snow movers and all that, I remember like a very quick story. So in Maryland, when we have snowstorms, we have a whole fleet of people with snow removal equipment coming in to make sure. Our first day, we had a person show up, one person with a shovel, right? To be able to clear, about an acre worth. And so we're like, I don't think, a person with a shovel will cut it. This time we need to make sure we have at least some moving equipment. But that's the kind of thing that I think I have to get used to, knowing that there's not that many snow. It does not snow around this part of the part of the state. But again, very, very optimistic on some of the numbers that we bring. I know that, we get checks to feed more, as well as the Jan Randolph Association. Now that I'm open, we're able to, again, have a lot of life in the community. You will see that's part of our DNA, and we really mean it when it comes to the community portion, that, we want to partner with you. There's a part in the website for those of you that are looking for a 501c3, whether we want to, you want us to sponsor, we have like a bi-weekly committee that looks at it. So every 2 weeks, we take a look at some of our submissions. So I urge you to use that. Now that we have revenue, we're able to at least expand a little bit of our life in the community. And not only from a giving perspective, you will see that we require a lot of our team members to be volunteers, a lot of our directors to sit on boards. So that is something that you will start hearing time and time again, the different things that happens, with Petersburg in terms of, we always focus here first in terms of our community and our community efforts and all that. So you'll also start seeing a lot of the advertising reach that I know I want to address head on. We are pivoting and making sure that that they're familiar that out of 95, that the exit, that's something that they need to make sure they're familiar with. And there's 3 exits here in Petersburg, so that's something that we're really focused on. And now you're going to start seeing with, especially with our new ads, with Cheryl on the helm, you start seeing, Wagner Road in Petersburg is something that you will start seeing as well, out there. You will also start to see a lot of still go up. We have like deep foundations that we're doing right now, but it's going to be one of the tallest structure in Petersburg, our 200-room hotel. We're very excited to, again, be here. 19 days, give us a little bit of time. I think I told some of you we're not perfect. We have a lot to learn. And, keep coming with the feedback, both positive and negative. We're addressing a lot of our temperature issues that we've had 2 weekends ago because it was really, really cold. So, we're addressing that. We're addressing a lot of our smoking issues that we have with a lot of returns and different, again, technology that we're having to put in, just from an air handler perspective. So again, just a lot of different things. 19 days, we're finding out, where we can get better. As I said, our management team, we try to be better every single day. We're not perfect, as I said. There's 2 criteria to be perfect for me. Unless you walk on water and got crucified, then that's the only reason that you're perfect. Other than that, I expect us to make, a little bit of, mistake. But one thing, if there's one takeaway for tonight, is please encourage everybody to apply. And the better our applicant pool is, the more jobs we can, produce, the more revenue we can produce. Because as you know, it's just a building if we don't have really great people working for us. So if there's one takeaway, help me please, get more people through human resources. So thank you, Mayor, for a little bit, come on, Cheryl, in terms of just from an applications perspective.
Our website is lych.com/Virginia, and you go to the bottom, there's careers.
I wanted to.
Martinez, Assistant Superintendent of Operations. And unfortunately, we do have older buildings, right? And with those older buildings come a lot of mechanical failure. And just an update with Vernon Johns Middle School, we have a main breaker failure, right? So they don't make that particular main breaker anymore. So we're looking to find a refurbished breaker as we speak, or we're going to have to rebuild that, right? So we're working on that right now. We have identified some parts, but we have to test that, and it is a process. So we're absolutely working on that. As far as Petersburg High School, that is a boiler style HVAC unit, if you will, heating system, and because of the freeze that we've had over these 3 weeks, some moisture may have got into the gas lines, and it created a solid freeze in the gas lines, right? So the gas could not come from the street into the school. We would normally get a notification if we had those controls in place. That's something that we will be identifying in our capital improvement projects, just to make sure that we'll be able to identify that. But as far as the process, we are trying to make sure that we identify that a lot earlier so we can address that. So we work with Columbia Gas and Johnson Controls, and we've identified, hopefully, everything will be good to go. So so the schools are on. We're good to go. Any questions?
So will you all go in tomorrow and put the heater in the rooms? Because I've had to put my water up, on 2 different occasions because it's been cold.
Correct. So we've identified the process with our facilities team and our school administrators. So they will be addressing the schools as soon as possible, soon before the students get there. And we work on a communication plan to make sure that we identify those rooms, and we let administrations know, and they need to mitigate that risk and identify some classrooms to move those students. And we'll be identifying those with your administrators. So if you have any issues, please contact your principal, and they will assist.
Subdivision. At the water.
Okay, yes. All right, perfect.
Are we gonna be doing any more road pavements, paving of roads
Okay.
this year, since
be in 2026.
Deputy, Kenny Miller, you want to bring out the list?
Sitting there so long, I stick.
Okay, first of all, Kenny Miller, Deputy City Manager, I do everything operationally. I want to say to the Mayor, Chair, congratulations on the accreditation. That's not an easy thing, and so what you've done is very remarkable. Two things, real quick. Paving comes on a grading, so every time a road gets up for paving, it has to be graded. And the lower the grade, the more opportunities there is for paving. So we're doing a lot of spot paving now. What you see going on down in the Old Town area, it looks like we're paving, we're actually overlaying and striping. It's the cost savings that could get us to until we can do some renovations and knock down some buildings. Oak Hill Bridge, I know you asked me about that one. You'll see that temporary bridge in place, not in place, but moved here by the end of the month. It'll take about a month before the bridge actually gets installed. And the speed limit will be increased because the bridge will sit up a little bit higher. So those are the processes for that. We have no paving scheduled outside of the normal paving schedule that we have already. I don't have a list. I didn't expect that question. I will get it for you as to what roads are next to be paved in our city.
That's right. Give
Now hold on now. Now, I've heard about paving. I also heard, hey, nobody asked me about the other thing, about the rumble strips. You didn't ask me about that. There you go. You want, well, you got to know people like the chairman and the mayor. No. You give me just where sweet it is, because we have put some by Pleasant Lane. We have put some on.
But not in my neighborhood.
You're asked until right now.
I left a voice message.
For me?
Not
Oh,
for
okay.
you, but it was for divisions, and no one has called me back.
Well, before we leave here tonight, we'll get your street, and I ordered 46 or 48 rumble strips to put down, and that's not enough, folks. They are working, and they're having some impact on the speeders in our community, and it's for safety. So, because the police, Chief Christian and his team are doing everything they can from an enforcement standpoint, but we want to give them some help. So, before we leave here tonight, no slate, but just give you the street that you're on, I'll add it to my list. You won't get at the very top, because I got a glance up on before, but I promise you, if you and I talk, I'll speak you one name.